The report points to a TSA program which tips off ICE and has led to detentions at airports, like this tense scene Sunday night in San Francisco when a mother and child were detained by plainclothes agents.
What is your badge number? This is illegal. We need to see your badge number.
Then show us the
Show
badge.
your badge number.
Show us the badge.
This is an illegal arrest. Show the badge number.
It's okay. We'll wait
I
here.
need to see your
Ma'am,
badge
step
number.
back. Step back.
I don't know who you are. You could be someone kidnapping her.
ICE agents have arrested a woman in front of her child. Did we know it was going to happen? We had an idea because they even said that they still have the power to do that. But let's get over into these videos and see what we can find out about this whole situation.
Surrounding an incident last night at SFO where a passenger was detained by ICE agents. KTV's Jana Katsuyama has more on what happened. Jana, we also just heard from State Senator Scott Wiener there at the airport.
Certainly, it is just wrapping up. He is still talking a little bit about some of the other issues that James was just mentioning. But I'm going to step aside so you can see, like right now, we're over at the International Terminal, and the spokesperson here for SFO did confirm that there were ICE officials here Sunday. Take a look at the video that we posted, that was posted on social media that precipitated this debate. A lot of questions raised by this video of this very public struggle that involved a woman and two officials. The video that was posted online, as you can see, shows a woman crying out as two men tried to detain her. The woman who was recording that video and posted it with a tag ICE out is asking the woman questions. Text on the video claims the woman was with her young child and was asked for ID when she was involved in the struggle with the ICE officers. Now, KTVO has not been able to independently reach that woman or confirm these details, but the San Francisco police do have an airport bureau, and they tell us that the incident happened around 10 p.m. Sunday. Police say they received a 911 call and learned the incident involved federal immigration officials. We also received a statement from an SFO spokesman who says, quote, "We understand federal officials were transporting two individuals on an outbound flight when this incident occurred. We believe this is an isolated incident and have no reason to suspect broader enforcement action at SFO." We also heard from San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie, who commented today, and back here live, he said that SFPD officers were at the scene to maintain public safety, but were not involved in the incident. He says, like many people who saw that video, he found it very upsetting to see it last night. He also says he's spoken to leaders both at SFO and SFPD, and they said that they have no reason to believe that there is a broader federal immigration enforcement action at SFO. So there's still...
Now remember, they can arrest people anywhere. So my real question is, if you know you're an illegal alien, illegal immigrant, why? I mean, I guess you got to fly if you want to, but if you're worried that you're going to get arrested, especially the times that we're in, why even go to the airport when we know ICE is there? But let's keep going.
That we're trying to understand, but these statements do help piece together some of the information surrounding this very public and for many people very disturbing incident, Greg. So we're continuing to find out more, and certainly this is something where there were so many witnesses who were there having it happen right in the middle of this very public space at SFO.
Yeah, Jan, a lot of questions about that video that is now going viral. I understand that what we heard from State Senator Scott Wiener in that news conference in the last 15 minutes is that those agents actually boarded a plane shortly after what we saw in that video.
Yes, he said that he is still getting information from other people. We also have been seeing from a lot of the discussion on social media that she might have been going to Guatemala. But we also understand there is reporting that ICE itself might be making a statement later on today. So we will be keeping abreast of that and bring people information if it turns out that they do make a statement about what happened, and perhaps bringing some clarity with the facts around the circumstances of that video.
Now let's go over to this next video where we can actually just see more of that viral video that's going out.
Federal immigration officials detain a woman in front of her young daughter in the middle of the SFO terminal. Videos of the encounter are now going viral, with San Francisco police, Mayor Daniel Lurie, and local lawmakers sounding off on the issue. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Kristen Z.
And I'm Amanda Del Castillo. The news of that detainment came just a day before the president said he would send ICE agents to national airports to ease long TSA lines. The Bay Area, as of right now, is not included in those airports, so this incident appears to be unrelated.
ABC 7 Eyewitness News reporter.
Okay, that's good to know, y'all. This isn't even related to ICE agents being at the airport.
Zach Fuentes joins us live now from SFO. Zach, what can you tell us?
Yeah, like you said, that video is circulating all over social media. It's now gotten a response from officials here at SFO and also San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie. State Senator Scott Wiener is going to be holding a press conference in response to it within an hour. Now, the video shows what appears to be officers arresting a woman. Now, SFPD said it was not involved, but confirmed that this did happen yesterday at around 10 p.m. Now, a crowd of people surrounded the woman being arrested. They asked officers to show their badge numbers, and the officers did not respond to those requests. The woman is seen later being taken through the airport by officers in a wheelchair. In a statement, a spokesperson for SFO said that federal officers were transporting two people on an outbound flight when that incident on video happened. And SFO says it believes that it was an isolated incident and that it has no reason to suspect that broader enforcement is happening at SFO. The statement went on to say, quote, "The airport's role is to ensure the safe and efficient operation of the facility for all passengers and staff. We were not involved in or notified in advance of this incident. Airport operations continued without disruption, and there were no impacts to flights or passenger processing."
Now, the crazy thing about that is we got a video we're going to get into now that says that the TSA agents might have been the ones to call them in the first place. Let's get over into it.
Borders Czar Tom Homan has said the mission for ICE agents sent to the nation's airports is to, quote, help TSA with security, help move the flow of people through those lines. And that may be true, but a new report in the New York Times raises the question of whether there's more to that mission. The report points to a TSA program which tips off ICE and has led to detentions at airports, like this tense scene Sunday night in San Francisco, when a mother and child were detained by plainclothes agents.
What is your badge number?
This is illegal.
We need to see your badge number.
Then show us the
Show
badge.
your badge number.
Show us the badge.
This is an illegal arrest. Show the badge number.
It's okay. We'll wait
I
here.
need to see your
Ma'am,
badge
step
number.
back. Step back.
I don't know who you are. You could be someone kidnapping
back.
her.
Okay, we should call the police. Call the police. Call the police.
Joining us, New York Times reporter Hamed Ali Aziz, who covers the Department of Homeland Security and immigration policy, along with co-host of FAQ NYC and Fordham University Associate Professor of Political Science, Christina Greer. All right, let's get the facts here. Hamed, talk to me about what TSA has been doing and helping potentially with ICE at airports.
Yeah, I mean, this is a program that launched last spring quietly. And what we found late last year was essentially TSA and ICE are working together in order to alert ICE officers and agents across the country about the impending flights of migrants who have deportation orders. So essentially giving these officers a heads up that these migrants are going to be flying, they're going to be going to the airport at a certain time, and for the officers to be there to arrest them. There was a famous case late last year of a young woman who was visiting her family from Boston Logan Airport to Texas, and she was arrested at Boston Logan Airport by ICE. And that's really the way that I first started to dig into what was going on here. And of course, her case was wrapped up in this program as well.
So it's unclear if that woman, Miss Lopez Jimenez, who was a native of Guatemala, knew that she was under a final deportation order. Am I understanding that correctly, Hamed?
Yeah, a lot of migrants, they get these deportation orders. It's known as in absentia. They haven't shown up to the hearings and the judge orders them removed. There are various levels to these orders. There are certain migrants who do not get notification according to activists and lawyers, and so they just simply don't know when to go to these hearings, and they get the deportation orders. And of course, there are those individuals who decide not to go to court and try to stay under the radar and out of the reach of the federal government. So there are hundreds of thousands of these types of cases and these types of orders historically, and she happens to be one of them. We haven't spoken with her yet at this point.
What makes this so interesting, I mean, that's 100 reasons, but right now, the president has sent ICE to the airports. ICE does not have a good reputation around the country. It's not popular. Most people don't like it. Half of the country wants the entire organization to be abolished. And so you see ICE at the airport and you worry that they're doing stuff like this, and then you see evidence they're doing stuff like this. Isn't that doesn't that backfire to have so many different Americans from all over the country interact and have ICE be that visible to them in this moment of heightened tension at airports especially?
Right. One would think that because public opinion has been so clear about how Americans feel about ICE, that you would not want to have sort of armed men at an airport, not assisting, by the way. But I think what's even more frightening is that many people see this as a dry run for how this administration wants to run the elections in 2026, because they know that their policies aren't popular. And they know that because the natural sort of process of American democracy, the party in power, especially in unified government, loses seats.
Steve Bannon has said that.
Yes, exactly. And so the Republicans know that they're going to lose seats. They know that the idea of divided government, meaning the Democrats will take over one or both houses of Congress, is a real possibility, because that's also just how the natural order of democracy has worked in the past, say, 30 years. Because of that, this is why we're seeing the push through of the SAVE Act and this real aggression. It's not about, making sure we protect the integrity of our elections. Voter fraud is minuscule, if non-existent. It's really about putting people in these databases so that ICE can actually go after these quote-unquote criminals. And now we've seen the definition of criminal move. Before it was rapists and murderers, and now it's anyone who has stayed in this country longer than they were supposed to. They are in the
anybody
under the
who's
umbrella.
crossed illegally is
Right.
considered.
Now, let me say something. I need to do my deep research on the SAVE Act. But what I've heard is that it's basically requiring you to show identification. If I'm wrong, we'll look over into it. But that doesn't seem wrong to me. But some people might say differently. Let's keep going into this, though.
Somebody that is fair game. All right. So, Hamid, the other piece that you had in the paper in the Times was about Gregory Bavino. It was a profile of him. And boy, was it a absolutely fascinating read. And if you might have thought that Gregory Bavino had some regret about what happened or was doing some introspection, no, that's not the case. He, in fact, thinks he should have gone farther. Give us a little bit about this profile of Bavino. What'd you learn?
Yeah, I mean, Greg Bavino is somebody that I've tracked for the last, year, really, as his rise from the individual running operations in Los Angeles. This protest really kicked off there, to taking his more aggressive approach across the country. And, he really led on a few different things that happened during the course of his time, really being empowered by the DHS secretary, the former DHS secretary, Kristi Noem. He talked about how there was a clash with the National Guard commander in Los Angeles. There was this infamous operation that Bavino led in MacArthur Park there in Los Angeles, where they're, just full out forces going through the park. And the commander had told him, hey,
I believe we got the gist of this video. Let's go over to the AI breakdown, y'all, just to get a little bit more information on this horrible situation. Or some people saying horrible, some people saying it's expected to happen. Let's go over into it. So as we know, on Sunday night, March 22nd, ICE agents arrested Angela and her 9-year-old daughter, Wendy, at the SFO, San Francisco International Airport. It happened at Terminal 3 around 10 p.m. like they said. The Department of Homeland Security stated that the family had a final order of removal from an immigration judge back in 2019. Reports indicate that the TSA agents tipped off ICE agents after identifying the mother and daughter on the passenger list for the domestic flight to Miami. Both individuals were deported to Guatemala shortly after the arrest. So local advocacy and organizations like the Free SF Coalition have raised concerns that the San Francisco Police Department may have violated the city's sanctuary ordinance by being present or assisting during the arrest. TSA role in sharing domestic passenger data with immigration authorities have sparked a debate over privacy and federal surveillance at the airports. I mean, federal surveillance, that sounds like what would happen at an airport. It's an airport. But California leaders like Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Congressman Kevin Mullins condemned the aggressive and inhumane nature of the detention, while airport officials clarified that this was a targeted enforcement action. It occurred amidst a broader deployment of ICE agents to the U.S. airports by Trump administration to supplement the TSA agents. Now, I did have a question about what the SAVE Act is that everybody was so talking about. So we'll go over to congress.gov. That's the best place to go. So as we know, let's zoom in some. So the SAVE Act, let's zoom in a little bit more. This bill requires the individuals to provide documentation, This bill requires individuals to provide proof of citizenship when registering to vote in the federal elections. Specifically, the bill prohibits states from accepting or processing an application to register to vote in a federal election unless the applicant presents proof of citizenship. The bill specifies which documents are considered acceptable proofs of the U.S. citizenship, such as an identification that complies with the Real ID of 2005 that indicates U.S. citizenship. The bill prohibits states from registering an individual to vote unless at the time of the individual applies to vote, the individual provides documentary proof of U.S. citizenship and requires states to establish an alternate process under which an applicant may submit other evidence demonstrating U.S. citizenship. Each state must take affirmative steps on an ongoing basis to ensure that the U.S. citizens are registered to vote. Only U.S. citizens are registered to vote, which shall include establishing a program to identify individuals who are not U.S. citizens using information supplied by certain sources. Additionally, states must remove non-citizens from official lists of eligible voters. The bill allows a private right action against an election official who registered an applicant to vote in the federal elections who failed to present documents of proof of U.S. citizenship. The bill establishes criminal penalties for certain offenses, including registering an applicant to vote in the federal election who failed to present documentary proof of U.S. citizenship. So that is what the SAVE Act is. Now, my real question is that bad? If it only asks for you just to prove that you're a U.S. citizen, which, I mean, I don't understand the big deal about that. Some people might have a better understanding of it than me, but I just show them my passport and my ID. I mean, it doesn't seem like they're trying to hold people away from voting. But let me know your thoughts on that whole situation. Let me know your thoughts on the whole San Francisco airport incident. Tell me, is it right that TSA is the one who tipped off ICE agents? But it sounds like it's been happening for a while, at least for this whole time the administration's been in. Like I said, let me know your thoughts and let me know if you disagree with anything I said.